Hello and welcome to Nullitaire Gaming, where we play games with 0 players, or in other words, we play bots against one another. And in this series we're playing Imperium, both Classics and Legends, by Nigel Buckle and David Tercey. And we're in the middle of a tournament right now. We've played several rounds of the first, several games of the first round, I should say. So if you haven't seen any of those, I recommend going back to the beginning of this series and starting with the first video. I'll put a link to the entire playlist in the description of this video if you want to do that. Okay, but here's where we are right now in this tournament. So we've played the first 5 games. And so the Arthurians, the Egyptians, the Persians, the Atlanteans, and the Olmecs have moved on. And we have 3 more games to play in the first round. So in this video we're going to play the Scythians against the Macedonians. So let's set up the game and get going. The game is set up. As always, I've decided randomly which faction, which nation will be the first player. And this time it turned out to be the Macedonians. So they're over here on the left as first player. This is their deck, dynasty deck back there. And this is their hand across here. I put their deck in line with that, just to remind me that that's their hand. And down here we have the deck for the Scythians, and their hand of cards in line with that as second player. Okay, we're all set. Here we go. The Macedonians start by rolling a 5, and the first card is Phalanx, which is a pinned card. So we take a look at their chart. As always, I put some post-it notes here just to cover up the charts that I don't want to look at, because sometimes I accidentally look at the wrong chart. So to help me focus on this chart. Alright, it's not fame, it's not glory, it's not barbarian, it's not a region, it's pinned. Okay. Gain 1 population. That's easy. The next card is Conquer, which is a barbarian card. So first up is Barbarian. Okay, kind of long instructions. Let's see. If able, spend 3 population to break through for a tributary and put this card into history. Can't do that. They only have 1 population right now. Otherwise, if able, spend 3 materials to acquire a civilized or uncivilized card and put this card into history. Can't do that either. Don't have any materials. Otherwise, break through for a region. Okay, so they'll do that last thing. There is a region in the market, plain, so they will take that. The next card is Conquer again. So we're going to have a repeat of the previous card. It's a barbarian card. They can't do the first 2 things, so they're going to break through for a region. And there's another region in the market now, Oasis, so they will take that. Put it right on top of their deck. Last card for the Macedonians is Unrest. Simply back to the Unrest pile. And that's it for them. So they'll place Progress on the 5 card. Oops, okay. Forgot to replace that in the market. There we go. Place Progress there. Slide this down and they'll refill their hand. The Scythians also start with a 5, and their first card is Tense, which is both pinned and barbarian. So looking at their barbarian chart, it's not attack, it's not conquer, it's not advance. Not a region, it's pinned. Okay, barbarian is after pinned. Okay, so we'll go with pinned. Discard the top 2 cards of the bot deck. Gained 2 materials. Put this card into history. Alright, so we'll do all that. Next card is Unrest. Easy. And the next card is Carpathian Mountains. Okay, which is a region. It's pinned and barbarian. I think region is probably going to come first, yeah, right there. Okay, gain 1 population, play the region, exile a card from the market. So they put that region into play, and now they're going to exile a card from the market. As always, bots always exile from left to right, and they take the first card that doesn't have any tokens on it, so that'll be the Etruscans. Last card for the Scythians is Advance, which I believe is a named card for them, yeah, right there. Okay, if able, spend 4 materials. They don't have that many, they only have 2. To break through for civilized card. Okay. Otherwise, if able, acquire an uncivilized card. Yes, they can do that. Otherwise gain 1. Okay, so they're going to acquire an uncivilized card. There's only one uncivilized card in the market, that's Elders, so they will acquire that together with the Unrest right on top of their deck. That's the end of the turn for the Scythians, so they'll place Progress on the 5 card, slide this card down, and refill their hand. The Macedonians roll a 5 again, and their first card is Advance, which is a barbarian card, and that will be the first priority, yes. Okay. If they will spend 3 population, they don't have that many. Okay. Next priority is 3 materials, they don't have that many. So lastly, breakthrough for a region. So they'll do that. The only region in the market is Mountain, so they'll take that together with the 2 Progress. The next card is Oasis, which is a region card. So for region, gain a material, play the region, exile a card from the market. Again, they'll exile from left to right, taking the first card with no tokens, so Astronomy will be exiled. The next card is Plain, which is also a region, so we'll have a repeat. Gain a material, play the region, exile a card. This time City will be exiled. The last card is another region, Orestes. So once again, gain material, play the region, exile a card. And this time it's Urban Development that gets exiled. That's the end of the Macedonians' turn, so they place Progress on the 5 card. Slide this down, refill their hand. The Scythians roll the first non-5, roll a 3, and their first card is Nomads. Just no symbols on it whatsoever. So that probably means we're going to get to Other, unless that card is named here. It is not. Okay, all the way to Other. If able, return an Unrest card from discard. I don't think they have any Unrest in their discard, but I'll check that. Otherwise, if able, acquire an Uncivilized card. Okay, they could definitely do that. So if we don't find any Unrest in their discard pile, they'll do that. Otherwise, put this card into history. All right, so we'll check and see if they have any Unrest in their discard. I don't think so. And if they don't, they'll acquire an Uncivilized card. As expected, they did not have any Unrest in their discard pile, so they will acquire an Uncivilized card. There's only one, Shrine, so they will take that. Next card is Unrest. And then the next card is Nomads again. But these Nomads are barbarians. Okay. So we're going to do the Barbarian priority here. If there is one or more region in play, there's one. Gain a material per region. Okay, so they'll get 1 material. Otherwise, breakthrough for a region. Okay, so all that's going to happen is they're going to get 1 material for the 1 region they have in play. Last card for the Scythians is Conquer, which is a named card for them here. If able, spend 4 population. They only have 1 to break through for tributary. Can't do that. Otherwise, if able, acquire a region. They can do that. Otherwise, gain a population. Okay, so they're going to acquire a region. There's only 1 region in the market, Steppe, so they will acquire that. That's the end of the Scythians' turn, so they place Progress on the 3 card in the market. Slide this card down and refill their hand. The Macedonians roll a 6, so they're going to play all their cards this turn. Starting with Philip II. It's a Barbarian card. Okay, so Barbarian. If able, spend 3 materials. They only have 1. Okay. If able, spend 3 population. They only have 1. Okay. Otherwise, spend 3 materials. They do have 3 materials, so they can do that. To acquire a civilized or uncivilized card and put this card into history. Alright, they're going to do that. They'll spend their 3 materials, they'll acquire a civilized or uncivilized card, and this card, Philip II, will go into history. There are 3 choices of civilized or uncivilized cards in the market. There's Temple, which is worth 5. Asterisks count as 5, remember. And Mercenaries, which also counts as 5, but has 2 Progress, so that's 7. And Oracle, which is 5. Okay, so Mercenaries is worth the most, so they will acquire that. The next card is a region, Mountain. So they're going to gain a material, play the region, and exile a card. So Temple will be exiled. The next card is also a region. Haliakmon Valley. Haliakmon. Something like that. Valley. Okay, so gain material, play the region, exile a card. This time Grassland is exiled. The next card is Unrest. And then the last card is another region. Pelagonia. Okay, so that means, of course, gain another material, play the region, exile a card. The Macedonians have 6 regions in play now, and they're going to exile a city. The Macedonians don't place progress because they rolled 6, so they'll just refill their hand. They do not have enough cards to refill their hand, so they get their first dynasty card, and they'll reshuffle. The Scythians' turn now. They roll a 4, and they begin with Elders, which is an uncivilized card. It doesn't have any other icons on it. Doesn't look like they care about uncivilized cards. No. So we get all the way to Other. If able, return Unrest from discard. Again, I don't think they have any Unrest in discard, but I'll check. Otherwise, if able, acquire an uncivilized card. They can definitely do that. Otherwise, put it into history. Okay, so I'll check and see if they have any Unrest in their discard. If not, they will acquire an uncivilized card. They had no Unrest in their discard pile, so they will take the only uncivilized card in the market, which is Oracle, and they will acquire it. Next card is a region, Steppe, which says gain a population, play the region, exile a card from the market. So they exile Civil Service. Next card is Unrest, and then, oh, more Unrest. Okay. So that's the end of their turn. They'll place progress on the 4 card in the market and refill their hand. They also didn't quite have enough cards to complete filling their hand, so they take a card off the Dynasty deck and shuffle. The Macedonians roll a 5, and they begin with Unrest. And the next card is Mercenaries, which is an Empire card. So, doesn't look like they care about that. And they also don't have Civilized on here. Okay, so they're going to get all the way to Other. Gain a progress per bot region in play. Okay, they have 6 in play, so that's quite a haul for them. Discard the top card from the bot deck and put this card into history. So they'll gain 6 progress, discard the top card of their deck, and then the Mercenaries will go into history. The next card is Unrest. And then finally, for the Macedonians, Conquer. So that is a Barbarian card. If able, spend 3 population. They don't have that many, they only have 1. Okay, so next, if able, spend 3 materials. They do have 3 materials, so they can do that. To acquire a civilized or uncivilized card. Yes, there are some in the market. And put this card into history. Okay, so they'll do that. There are 2 cards in the market they could take. Exports here is worth 5, and Elders here is worth 2. So they're going to take Exports and acquire that. That's the end of the turn for the Macedonians, so they'll place Progress on the 5 card. Slide this down, refill their hand. The Scythians roll a 3. The first card is Shrine, which is Barbarian and pinned. So, which comes up first? Pinned, I think. Comes before Barbarian, yes. Discard the top 2 cards of the bot deck, gain 2 materials, put this card into history. The next card is Unrest. And then more Unrest. And then Elders. Okay, which again has no icons on it, so we'll go all the way to Other. If able, return Unrest from the discard. I know they don't have any in the discard now, so otherwise, if able, acquire an uncivilized card. Yes, they can do that. The only uncivilized card is another copy of Elders, so they will take that. That's the Scythian turn, so they'll place Progress on the 3 card and refill their hand. The Macedonians roll a5 again, and they start with Phalanx, which is a pinned card, so they will simply gain a population. Next card is Unrest, and then Exports, which is an attack and an empire card. Okay, so there's attack. Okay. Steal 2 materials. They can do that. The Scythians have more than 2 materials. Discard the top card of the bot deck. Okay, so they're going to take 2 materials from the Scythians and discard the top card of their deck. The last card for the Macedonians is a tributary card. Uxians, something like that. A tributary card and also an attack card. Don't think they have tributary on here. No, so attack. So the same thing again. Steal 2 materials, discard the top card of the bot deck. And they can steal 2 more materials. The Scythians have 3, so they can take 2 more. And discard the top card of their deck. That's the end of the Macedonian turn. Place progress on the 5 card. Slide this down. And refill their hand. Their deck is empty though, so they're going to have to reshuffle. So they'll take a dynasty card before doing that. The Scythians roll a 4 and start with the card Oracle, which is a barbarian, uncivilized card. So they will do this. If there's one or more region in play, they have 2. Gain 1 material per bot region in play. Okay, so that means their own regions. So they'll gain 2 materials, otherwise break through. Okay, so they're going to gain 2 materials. That's all that's going to happen here. The next card is Unrest. And then Elders again. Okay, I know that doesn't have any icons, so down here, if able, return Unrest from discard. Pretty sure they don't have any, but I'll double check. Otherwise, acquire an uncivilized card, so they can definitely do that. They do not have any Unrest in their discard pile, so they will acquire the only uncivilized card, which is Monument. The last card for the Scythians is Mounted Archers, which is a pinned card. It should be here. Discard the top 2 cards of the bot deck, gain 2 materials, put this card into history. That's the end of the Scythian turn. They place progress on the 4 card. Slide that down. Refill their hand. I don't think they have enough cards to quite make it. No. So, they'll take another dynasty card and shuffle. And guess what? The Macedonians roll a 5 again. Go figure. Okay, so their first card is Advance, which is a barbarian card. Okay, so for them, if they will spend 3 population, they only have 2, so they can't do that. Otherwise, if they will spend 3 materials, they can definitely do that. They stole a bunch from the Scythians, so they'll do that. And acquire a civilized or uncivilized card, and this card will go into history. There are 2 choices here for civilized or uncivilized card. We have Coinage and Jade Mask. Coinage is worth 3, and the Jade Mask is worth 1 down here, because whenever there's a question mark, we just take the highest written victory point here. So it says 1 VP if in history, so this card's worth 1. Plus 1 for the progress. So this is worth 2, this is worth 3, so they will take Coinage. Next card is a Phalanx, which is a pinned card. So they'll gain a population. Next card is Conquer, which is a barbarian card. So if they will spend 3 population. Well, they can spend 3 population now. They've played Phalanx enough times now. They finally have 3 population to break through for a tributary and put this card into history. There are 2 tributaries in the market, the Celts and the Carthaginians. Celts are worth 3, Carthaginians worth 5, so they're going to break through for the Carthaginians. Last card for the Macedonians is Glory, which is here on their chart. If able, abandon 3 regions to gain the top fame card. Yeah, they can definitely do that. They have 6 regions in play. Otherwise, break through. Alright, so they're going to abandon the last 3 regions they played, so these will come, go into discard. 1, 2, and 3. And they'll take the top fame card and put it there. That's the end of the Macedonian turn. Place progress on the 5 card and refill their hand. And the Scythians roll a 5. Maybe something in the air today. I don't know. That die just really wants to roll 5s today. Alright, so Advance is the first card. It's a barbarian card, but I think it's actually named here. Yeah, there it is. Okay, if able, spend 4 materials. They can do that. To break through for a civilized card. Otherwise, acquire. Otherwise. Okay, so they'll do the first thing. Spend 4 materials and break through for a civilized card. There is one civilized card in the market that's moneylenders, so they will break through for that. Next card is Unrest. And then Conquer. Okay, Conquer is here. If able, spend 4 population. They don't have that many. To break through for tributary. Otherwise, if able, acquire a region. Yes, they can do that. Otherwise, gain 1. Okay, so they're going to acquire a region. There's only one region in the market. It's called Fortified Region. So they will acquire that. Last card for the Scythians is Nomads, which is a barbarian card. Okay. If there's one or more region in play, there is. Gain 1 material per bought region. Okay, so that's 2. They have 2 regions in play. Otherwise, okay, so they're going to gain 2 materials. So they'll place progress on the 5 card in the market. Slide that down and refill their hand. So what do you reckon? Will the Macedonians roll a 5 yet again? No. They rolled a 1 this time. And they start with their newly acquired Fame card. Proud. Okay, so the Fame card says, put this card into history. Easy. Next card for them is a Tributary, Carthaginians, which is also an attack card. Okay, which I think that will be their priority, yes. Okay. Steal 2 materials. They can do that. The Scythians have at least 2. And discard the top 2 cards of the bot deck. Next card is Unrest. And last card is Coinage, which is pinned, and an Empire card. Okay, so pinned, gain a population. That's the end of the Macedonians' turn. So they place progress on the 1 card. Their deck is now empty, so they'll take another Dynasty card and shuffle. The Scythians also roll a 1, and they start with Fortified Region, which says gain a population, play the region, exile a card. First card in the market has a token on it, so they will exile Persians. Next card is Moneylenders, which is an Empire card, and Civilized. I don't think they're going to care about any of that. Okay, other. If able, return an Unrest from discard. I don't think they have any. Otherwise, acquire an Uncivilized card, which they can. So I'll check and see if they have Unrest in their discard. If not, they'll acquire an Uncivilized card. No Unrest in their discard pile, so they'll take the only Uncivilized card in the market, which is Jade Mask. They'll acquire that. Next card is Nomads, which has no icons on it, so down to other again. They do not have Unrest in their discard, so they would like to acquire another Uncivilized card. Problem is there are no Uncivilized cards in the market right now. So this card will just go into history. And the last card for the Scythians is Unrest. So they'll place progress on the 1 card in the market, Celts, and refill their hand. Now we're on a 1 kick. The Macedonians roll a 1 again. Okay, and they play a region, Pelagonia. So that says gain a material, play the region, exile a card. So they exile Onager. Here are the Carthaginians again, an attack card. Okay, so steal 2 materials. Well, they can steal 1. The Scythians have 1 material. And discard the top card from the bot deck. Next card is Prosperity, which is a named card for them here. Discard the top card from the bot deck. Gain a material and 1 population per region in play. They have 4 in play. And you may draw a card. So that means that the other bot will draw a card, but bots don't draw cards, therefore the other bot, the Scythians, will merely discard the top card of their deck. Last card for the Macedonians is Phalanx, which is a pinned card, so they'll gain a population. They place another progress token on that one card, and they'll refill their hand. They don't have enough cards, though, here, so yeah, they need one more card. Okay, so that means Alexander goes into the discard pile, and since Alexander's the full moon card, the Macedonians have now become an empire. And the Scythians roll a 4, and they begin with elders, which again has no icons on it except that uncivilized icon, so we get all the way to other. If able, return unrest from discard. They don't have any. Otherwise, acquire an uncivilized card from the market, which they can do now. There now is an uncivilized card, so they'll do that. Okay, so city is the only uncivilized card. They will acquire that. Next card is unrest, and then Jade Mask, which just like elders has no icons except uncivilized. I mean, it has the mask icon, but they don't care about that. Okay, so other again, they don't have unrest in their discard pile. They can acquire an uncivilized card. A new one came to replace the other one, so they'll take road building and acquire that. Last card for the Scythians is Oracle, which is a barbarian card. Okay. If there's one or more region in play, there is. Gain 1 material per region in play. Okay, the Scythians have 3 regions in play, so they'll get 3 materials. And that's it. The Scythians place progress on the 4 card, and they will refill their hand. The Macedonians are back to rolling 5s. Okay, so their first card is Exports, which is an attack and empire card. We're now looking at a different chart because the Macedonians are now an empire. So, let's see, this, it's not fame, it's not glory, it's not barbarian, it's not region, it's not pinned. It is an empire card. Okay. If able, spend 2 materials. They can, they have lots. To acquire any card. Otherwise, place the top card from the Dynasty deck into the discard pile and put this card into history. Alright, they can spend those 2 materials to acquire a card, so they'll do that. So they can acquire any card in the market. The one that's worth the most is the Celts, which is worth 6, so they will acquire that one. Next card is Coinage, which is pinned and a empire card. Pinned comes first. If able, return a region from discard pile into play, put this card into history. We'll have to check and see if there are any regions in their discard pile. There are no regions in their discard pile. In fact, there's only 1 card, so that should have been easy. But anyway, okay, so this card will go into history, and that's it. Next card is a region, Halikmon Valley, or something like that anyway. Okay, so play the region, exile a card from the market. The market is full of regions right now, so they're going to exile jungle. Here are the Uxians again, tributaries. Also with the attack icon. Not fame, not glory, not barbarian, not a region, not pinned, not empire. Okay, so other. Gain a progress per region in play. Well, they have 5 regions in play, so another big haul in progress for the Macedonians. And then the Uxians will go into history. That's the end of the Macedonians' turn, so progress on the 5 card, and they'll refill their hand. The Scythians are sticking with 1s, and their first card is Unrest. Next card is Road Building, which is a pinned card. Okay, here. Discard the top 2 cards of the bot deck, gain 2 materials, put this card into history. Next card is some more Unrest. And the last card is City, which is pinned. Okay. So again, discard the top 2 cards of the bot deck, gain 2 materials, put this card into history. It's the end of the Scythian turn. They put progress on the 1 card and refill their hand, but their deck is empty, so another Dynasty card, and they'll shuffle. The Macedonians roll a 2, and they start with the Carthaginians. An attack card. So, well, they don't care about attack anymore, now that they're a, civilized empire. Okay, so it's a tributary and attack. Okay, so none of this is relevant. Okay, other. Gain 1 progress per bought region in play. They have 5, so they'll get 5 progress. And put this card into history. And the next card looks a lot like the last one. It's Celts. Also an attack card and tributary. And they still don't care about that. So they'll get another 5 progress for the regions in play, and this card will go into history. Here's the prosperity card, which they also don't care about. Interesting. Okay, so we're down to other once again. So another 5 progress, and this card will go into history as well. And the last card for the Macedonians is a region, the mountain. And so they'll play it and then exile a card. The Highlands will be exiled. That's all for the Macedonians. They place progress on the 2 card and refill their hand, but they only have 3 cards here. So they will take another card from the Dynasty deck and shuffle. The Scythians roll a 3, and they play Raiders, Barbarian, and Attack. Attack is first. Discard the top 2 cards of the bot deck. You recall a region, so that means the Macedonians have to recall a region. If you are an empire, so that means the Macedonians. If the Macedonians are an empire, steal 1 population. Okay, so the Scythians are going to discard the top 2 cards, force the Macedonians to recall a region, and then steal a population away from them. Okay, Jade Mask is next, which doesn't have any icons on it, except for Uncivilized, but they don't have that here, so other. If able, return an unrest from discard. I don't think they have any. Otherwise, if able, acquire an Uncivilized card. They can do that. There's an Uncivilized card in the market. So the Scythians acquire cannot. And the next card is Oracle, which is a barbarian card. Okay, that says if there's 1 or more region in play, there are. The Scythians have 3, so they'll gain 1. They'll gain 3 material, and that's it. Last card is a region, Tian Shan, and so that says gain a population, play the region, exile a card. So the Qin will be exiled. At the end of the Scythian turn, place progress on the 3 card, refill their hand. The Macedonians roll a 4 and start with Unrest. The next card is Alexander. Okay, no markings at all on Alexander. So, looks like we're going to get all the way down here. Okay. Gain 1 progress per region in play. The Macedonians have 5, and this card goes to history. The next card is Glory, which is named on their chart here. If able, abandon 3 regions to gain the top fame card. Yes, they can do that. They have 5 regions in play. Otherwise, acquire a region. Otherwise, okay. So they'll do they will do the first thing. Abandon 3 regions, gain the top fame card. Okay, so they've abandoned 3 regions, and they will take the top fame card. Last card for the Macedonians is Exports, which is both attack and empire. So looks like empire. If they will spend 2 materials, they can definitely do that, to acquire any card. Otherwise, okay. So that's what they're going to do, just the first thing. So they'll acquire the most valuable card in the market, which right now is education. So the Macedonians place progress on the 4 card and refill their hand. The Scythians now roll a 4 and play Elders, their favorite card, which takes them all the way down to other. If able, return unrest from the discard pile. I don't think they have any there. Otherwise, if able, acquire an uncivilized card. Well, there aren't any uncivilized cards in the market, so they can't do that either. Otherwise, put this card into history. Okay, so that's what's going to happen. This card goes into history. Next is Unrest. And then another uncivilized card, cannot, which is also pinned. Okay, so pinned card. Discard the top 2 cards from the bot deck, gain 2 materials, put this card into history. Last card for the Scythians is Monument, pinned and Barbarian. But pinned is first, so a repeat of the last card. Discard the top 2 cards, gain 2 materials, put this card into history. The Scythians now place Progress on the 4 card. And they'll refill their hand. Their deck is empty though, so they're going to take another Dynasty card and shuffle. The Macedonians roll a 2, and they start with Phalanx, which is pinned. So if able, return a region from discard pile into play. I think they can do that. I think they have some regions in their discard pile. And put this card into history. So they did have some region cards in their discard pile, so Orestes went back into play. Okay, so the next card is Education, which is an Empire card. So, if able, spend 2 materials. They have 5, so they can do that, to acquire any card. Okay, otherwise... Alright, so that's what they're going to do. Spend 2 materials, acquire a card. Lots of regions in the market again. The most valuable card right now is Coast. It has 3 progress on it. Corruption's only worth 2. So they'll take Coast. Next card is a Fame card, Imperial. So that will gain 1 progress per region in play. They have 3 regions in play, so they'll get 3 progress, and this card will go into history. Last card for the Macedonians, a region card, Mountain. So they're going to play the region and exile a card. Forest is going to be exiled. It's the end of the Macedonians' turn. Place progress on the 2 card, and refill their hand. They only have 2 cards left in their deck, though. So another card from their Dynasty deck, and they'll reshuffle. The Scythians roll a 2, and they start with Nomads, which is a Barbarian card. So, if there's one or more regions in play, there are. Gain a region per bought region in play. So the Scythians have 4 regions, so they'll get 4 materials. And that's it. The next card is Conquer. This is a named card here. If able, spend 4 population to break through for a tributary. They can. They have 5 population, so they can do that. Okay. Otherwise. Okay, so that's what they're going to do. Spend 4 population, break through for a tributary. Because there are no tributaries in the market, they're going to have to go to the deck here and just find one. There we go. The Hittites. So they will take that. The next card is Moneylenders, which is an Empire card. Don't think they're interested in that. No. So if able, return an unrest from the discard. They do not have any unrest in the discard. Otherwise, if able to acquire an uncivilized card, they can't do that because there are none in the market. So they'll just put this card into history. The last card is Jade Mask, which also has no icons on it. Okay, so we're back down here again to Other. They don't have any unrest in their discard pile, cannot acquire an uncivilized card, so this card just goes into history. That's it for the Scythians. So they place progress on the 2 card, and they'll refill their hand. The Macedonians roll a 2, begin with Unrest. The next card is Alexandria in Ariana, which is both pinned and a Empire card. Okay, pinned comes first. If able, return a region from discard pile into play. They don't have a discard pile right now. Put this card into history. So this card is just going into history, that's it. The next card is Exports, which is Attack and Empire. And so Empire here. If able, spend 2 materials. Yes, they can do that. To acquire any card. Okay, looks like that's what they're going to do. Yes, so that's what they'll do. The card in the market worth the most right now is this Mountain card, so they will take that. Last card for the Macedonians is Education, which is an Empire card. So we'll have a repeat here. If able, spend 2 materials to acquire a card. Well, Now they only have one material, so they can't do that. So otherwise, place the top card from the Dynasty deck into the discard pile and put this card into history. Okay, so they're going to take the top card from the Dynasty deck, and Education will go into history. It's the end of the turn for the Macedonians, so place Progress on the 2 card and refill their hand. The Scythians roll a 1 and start with a tributary card, the Hittites. Okay, so tributary right here. If able, return unrest from discard. I don't think they have any unrest in their discard pile. Otherwise, break through for a region and put this card into history. The region worth the most is Marsh, so they will take that. Next card is Unrest. And then a region, Tarim Basin. Okay, so region, gain a population, play the region, exile a card. They will exile Cataphract. Last card for the Scythians is Advance, which says, if able, spend 4 materials. Yes, they can. They have quite a few materials. To break through for a civilized card. Okay, so that's what they'll do. The only civilized card in the market is Corruption, so they will break through for that. That's the end of their turn. Place Progress on the 1 card and refill their hand. The Macedonians roll a 4, and they start with a region card, Coast, which says, play the region, exile a card. First 2 cards have tokens, so the Axumites get exiled. Next card is another region, so a repeat, play the region, exile a card. This time it's City that gets exiled. And Alexander has returned, but now he's great. Okay, so this is an Empire card. If able, spend 2 materials to acquire any card. They only have 1 material now, so they can't do that. Otherwise, place the top card from the Dynasty deck into the discard pile and put this card into history. Okay, so that's what they're going to do. Take a card from the Dynasty deck, and Alexander the Great is history. Last card for the Macedonians is Glory. Glory says, if able, abandon 3 regions to gain the top fame card. Yes, they can do that. They have 6 regions in play. And that's all they will do. Okay? It's the end of the Macedonians' turn. They place Progress on the 4 and refill their hand. They didn't have enough cards in their deck to complete that, so another card from the Dynasty deck and shuffle. The Scythians roll a 1. And they play Corruption first, which is both Attack and Empire. So Attack is first. Discard the top 2 cards from the bot deck. Force the Macedonians to recall a region. And since their Empire will steal a population from them. The next card is a region, Marsh, which means they'll gain a population, play the region, exile a card. City will be exiled. Here are the Elders again. Which takes us to Other. If able, if able, return an unrest from discard. I don't think they have any there. Otherwise, if able, acquire an unrest. Sorry, getting all my terminologies confused. If able, return an unrest from discard. Otherwise, if able, acquire an uncivilized card. They can do that because there's 1 in the market. Okay, so that's what they'll do. So there are 2 uncivilized cards in the market, Watermill and Leadership. This one's worth 6, and Leadership's worth 1, so they'll take Watermill. Last card for the Scythians is Raiders, which is an Attack and Barbarian card. So Attack. Discard the top 2 cards in the bot deck. Force the Macedonians to recall a region, and since they're an Empire, steal a population. Okay, that's it for the Scythians. Place Progress on the 1 card. Their deck is now empty, so take another Dynasty card and shuffle. The Macedonians roll a 5 and play Pelagonia, a region first, which we know what that means. Play the region, exile a card. They will exile Invasion. Next card is a Fame card, Triumphant. So they will gain Progress per region in play. They have 2 regions in play, so 2 Progress, and this card goes to history. Next card is a region, Haliakmon Valley. And so, once again, play the region, exile the card. Oracle is exiled this time. The main deck is now empty, so that triggers the end of game. Therefore, we'll complete this round. The Macedonians and the Scythians will finish this round, and then we'll play one more round, and then the game will be over. Next card is a region, mountain. So once again, play the region, exile the card. The Greeks are exiled this time. That's the end of the turn for the Macedonians. It plays progress and refill their hand. The Scythians roll a 6, so they will play all of their cards this round. So Oracle is the first card. It's a barbarian card. And so, if there's one or more regions in play, there are. Gain a material per bot region. Okay, so the Scythians have 6 regions in play, so they'll get 6 materials. And that's it. Next card is Nomads, which is barbarian. Okay. And same thing again. They're going to get 6 materials. Next card is Corruption, which is an attack card, their first priority. Discard the top 2 cards of the bot deck, force the Macedonians to recall a region, and steal a population. Next card is Unrest. And then, last card, Watermill, which is a pinned card. So, discard the top 2 cards of the bot deck, gain 2 materials, and put this card into history. That's the end of the turn for the Scythians. They don't place progress because they rolled a 6. They'll refill their hand, but they only have 1 card in their deck. So, another card from the Dynasty deck, and they'll shuffle. So this is the last round of the game. The Macedonians will play their last turn, and then the Scythians will play their last turn. And then that'll be it. We'll tally the scores and see who wins. Okay, so the Macedonians roll a 2, and they play a region first. You know what that means. Play the region, exile a card. So leadership is exiled. They play another region, Orestes. So once again, play a region, exile a card. This time there are no cards to exile because they all have tokens on them. Next card is Companion Cavalry, which is both pinned and Empire. And I believe pinned comes first, yes. If able, return a region from the discard pile into play. They can't do that because they don't have a discard pile. This card will simply go to history, and that'll be it. The last card play for the Macedonians for the game is Development, which is an Empire card. And so, Development. If able, spend 2 materials. They can't, they only have 1. Otherwise, place the top card from the Dynasty deck into the discard pile and put this card in history. Okay, so they're going to grab 1 more Dynasty card before the end of the game. That's the end of their turn. They would place progress on the 2 card, but there isn't one. So they will simply refill their hand. And they have plenty of cards, I think, to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. So they won't take any more Dynasty cards. So now the last turn of the game, the Scythians roll a 1, and they play Elders, which again has no icons on it. So, if able, return an Unrest from discard. They don't have a discard pile. Otherwise, if able, acquire an Uncivilized card. Actually, they can. There is one in the market. Okay, so that's what they're going to do. Acquire the last Uncivilized card, which is Mysticism. The next card is Advance, which says if able, spend 4 materials. Definitely they can do that. To break through for a civilized card. Well, I can tell you they're not going to find a civilized card because the main deck is empty and there are no civilized cards in the market. But still, I think they do it, and then they end up just getting 2 progress because they can't find the needed card. Okay, so that's what's going to happen. They'll spend the 4 materials to break through for a civilized card. They won't find one, and so they'll take 2 progress instead. Next card is Nomads, which is a barbarian card. So if there are regions in play, there are. Gain 1 material per bot region. Okay, so the Scythians have 6 regions, so they'll get 6 materials. And that's it. The last card of the game now is Tamga, a pinned card, which says discard the top 2 cards of the bot deck, gain 2 materials, put this card into history. So that's the end of the turn for the Scythians. They place progress on the 1 card, not that it matters, and refill their hand. I think they have enough cards. Yeah, they have just enough to fill their hand. So that's the end of the game. Now let's tally the scores. Okay, it's time to tally the score. So we'll just start as usual with the tokens first, and like I've done in previous videos, I'll just match them up 1 for 1 rather than totaling up all the points for both sides and comparing them. Just match them 1 for 1, and whoever has some points left over is the winner. Okay, well, just looking at the tokens, it's quite a mismatch. The Macedonians have a ton of victory points. There's 51 victory points right there in progress, whereas the Scythians only managed to get 13 progress. However, we've seen games before where the progress token values were really mismatched like that, and the nation that had the smaller number actually ended up winning just because they had so many more points in their deck. I find that hard to believe that's going to happen in this case. It seemed to me as though the Macedonians pretty much ran away with this one, but let's check it anyway to make sure. Okay, so let's take 10 progress away from both sides, and we have 3 left over here. And also we remember that every 10 materials and population combined also counts as 1 victory point. So this is 3 victory points here in materials, plus another 2 I could take from there. That's 5 victory points there, so I can take a 5 progress there. Okay, and that leaves 1 there. Take those away. Okay, the Macedonians have 3 materials and population here. That's not enough to count for anything, so we'll take those away. And here we have 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not enough to count for anything, so those go away. Okay, so the Macedonians are ahead by 35 victory points right now, just considering the tokens. We're now ready for the final analysis, and as usual, I'll just go down column by column here, well, row by row through these columns, and match up victory points 1 for 1. Whoever has some victory points left at the end of that will be the winner. So, first thing we had to do is match up the 35 victory points that the Macedonians had in progress tokens with 35 victory points from the Scythians' cards. So we did that. So those are now balanced. The Scythians had an unrest card left in their deck, so they had to give up a 2-value card to pay for that. And so now what we have left is matched up 1 for 1. Oh, well, the Scythians have already run out. So the Macedonians win by a landslide as expected. This is 72 victory points here. So the Macedonians win by a margin of 72 victory points. Yeah, it wasn't even close, as expected. All right, there you have it. Macedonians win over the Scythians. The Macedonians join the other winners in the next round, knocking out the Scythians. And so our next game will be between the Chin and the Carthaginians. And I'll hope you join me then. Till then, bye-bye.